happening, everybody? Greg Hitchko here, and I am standing next to the Spencer Luczak at Flying Iron Horse Ranch motocross track just outside of beautiful Park City, Utah. And Spencer and his family own probably what is the most scenic motocross tracks in the entire world. I mean, if you've been here, you can definitely argue with that. Spencer, I think you'd have to agree with that as well.
It's up there, right? It's in the top 1%.
He's being modest. But anyway, guys, I got Spencer here. Basically, just want to talk about the property, give you guys a little bit of history, some details on it. We've got a bunch of privateer riders up here riding today between Salt Lake City Supercross races. So let's dive into it. I've been up here a few times, Spencer. You've kind of told me a little bit about the history and some details, but...
It is our family property, right? We've been here since, what, 2002? You know, not originally from Utah, but we love land. And when my dad saw the river, the big black rock, which I'm sure at some point will make the edit, and just the property, like the potential is what we see more than anything, but there's a lot of iconic landmarks. As you said, Park City is 7 miles from here, right? So on Interstate 80, you're 10 minutes, and then it's 30 minutes from Salt Lake City. So logistically, the access is great, and it's hard to beat to get out of a city.
Oh, it's very easy. How many acres is the property total?
Sure. So initially we bought, it was 19 or 20 acres, which was the Black Rock down and then this parcel of the river. And
so
then,
just this main area we're talking about
yeah,
here.
kind of what you see, what we call the front yard.
Yep.
The Black Rock down, and then this bit of river is about 19 acres. And then the footbridge that's over here connects the 2 acres, so maybe 17 and 2. And then 2014, took us a long time, the 160 acres that's in the back was a failed subdivision. Guy went upside down, bank couldn't sell it, they didn't know what to do, and it took a lot of years of work trade and, you know, working our magic to get the price down, and bought that, started selling lots. So all in all, I would say about 140 acres between the 2 pieces together. Sounds about right? I don't know.
It's a decent chunk of property.
It's enough that you wouldn't want to walk the whole thing unless you're getting exercise, but at the same time, it gives you enough land
you definitely don't want
do
to.
something.
So what we see here is what the main track on the property we would call it, or the secondary track, because up on the 140 acres above, which you guys see right now, that is a complete AMA national style motocross track that we have up here. This is more of a combination motocross, supercross-ish.
Yeah, it's that's a good question. Main track, second track, not quite sure, but it's the one that's been here the longest. So most people have seen it because it's on the river. You know, it is flat ground, but with how much elevation and the product we bring in, it has a lot of flow. Yeah. So I just call it the front yard. And then in the backyard, we do have, it is not a public thing, it's not open to the public or on the circuit, but it is an AMA national caliper. Actually, it's more of MXGP, because it's longer than any track on the circuit, right? I mean, it's 2 miles in length, exactly, and there's 1,000 feet of elevation change from the start all the way back around. So you gotta be tough to ride it, let alone if you were gonna race it.
And there's some steep elevation changes. I mean, it pretty much goes up and then it goes right back down, gnarly off cambers, huge jumps.
It's not Glen Helen where, you know, I mean, if you've been to Mount St. Helens, it's huge, right? So there's facets from other tracks around the country that have their particular intensity to them. Yeah. This track kind of combines MotoGP with American style, that you have natural terrain and then we augment the flow. So you do get those butt pucker moments where you're going downhill and you're like, are you sure? And I tell people, it's better not to use your brakes. Let the engine do the work. Unless you're on a 2-stroke, then, you know, say your prayers. But it teaches you how to use your brakes, use the motor, feel the inertia of, you know, 4 or 5 Gs hitting you into a corner, but it's still super safe, right? Yeah. The only thing that's not safe about it is either walking it or trying to get a machine with dirt, because you'll tip over. Or
would not advise walking that track. We did it last year, and
oh my gosh,
it's rough.
Right? And everyone's like, I'll get my exercise in. I'm like, 2 miles. Yeah, that's not bad. You're like 3 turns in, and you're like, I'm done. Where's the side-by-side? I'm out of here.
So we could talk about that track all day. That track hasn't been ridden in about 4 years or so.
Unfortunately, I haven't ridden it. We can't work on it.
Long story that we're not going to get into, but I mean, this bottom track, the front yard as Spencer calls it, him and his dad are pretty much a 2-man show with the help of some good friends that come up here and get the track prepared and prepped. But you guys must have spent hours and thousands of hours, gallons of water, fuel to run the machines. I mean, give us some detail on what kind of goes behind the scenes to get a track prepared, ready for a professional level like this.
Sure. Sheer numbers, Off the top of my head, I couldn't
Let's
even tell
hear it.
you how many thousands of hours. Like just in man hours, I don't know. But let's say we started building this in 2004 and we're in 2021. Okay, so we can do quick math there. Let's just say you spent at least 1,000 hours individually every year for 15 years. 2 people combined, there's 30,000 hours. And that's a conservative number just because even what we're standing on, we had to haul a lot of soil in, screen it, make sure the rocks are there, there's no soil contamination. And then every tree you see, every blade of grass, every elevation change was all done essentially by us. And as you said, we have a lot of help, guys. Don't think that it's just us two, but we don't get paid. No one comes up, there's no investors. It is our front yard, so it is our own labor. But Greg himself, other people come up, rock pick, you know, cut the grass, help us with trimming trees. There's so much work that...
Digging out tree rings.
Digging out tree rings. I mean, the simplest thing that you think like a front yard where you're edging the grass, I don't know how you do it up here without help, but my dad and I do pretty much everything you see, including building the bridges and everything to get in.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, man hours, conservative base, 30,000. And then you can start to build how much fuel that would take.
Oh yeah.
Renting machines, how much dirt. You know, I don't know soil-wise how much we've had to fix and change, but the track itself, just the mass of like what we're standing on, the sand, 70, 80,000 yards. So I mean, the best way to think about it, a normal Supercross track is between 5,000 to 6,000 yards.
Yeah.
Right? For a typical, I mean, maybe not Daytona.
Or Atlanta.
Or Atlanta, right? But 5 to 6 is how much it takes to build a typical track. You could build the entire circuit with the amount of dirt that we have just on this track.
Insane.
I mean, that's how much material to move and shape, and then obviously to get everything set out. So I lose track. I just keep at it in the hopes that people have fun.
I'm pretty sure I lost track. And when you say you hope people have fun, all of the stuff that and the details that go into preparing this property does not go unnoticed, because let me tell you, every single person that comes in here is just completely mind blown. And the people who are fortunate enough to ride this track, they can't thank Spencer enough. And it is one of the most fun tracks they've ever ridden. I mean, every single guy out here, biggest smiles on their faces when they come off the track. So
it's fun. It's about having fun on a bike.
And that's what I wanted to get into with my next question is, you know, what is your why, and, you know, what drives you to prepare something like this with all those man hours?
I wish my dad was not in a machine working to answer that question, because I'd love to hear his honest opinion.
Yeah.
At the end of it, like if I took a guess at why he does it, right? Because technically it's his land. We work on it together, but he loves it. He loves building things, and he can see things. Like when he builds a house, he goes into a plot of land to build a house, and other people do not see what's capable. He has to show them. So with his own land, this is only the beginning. We're only, 16 years deep into this, but when it gets done, if we showed you before and after, you'd be like, there's no way. There's no way in a lifetime you would do it. And I'm like, you don't know Steve Luczak, and you've never met me. He's calm, patient, methodical. I happen to bring the intensity and the OCD of like, that branch is off, let's trim it a little bit and go through. So it takes time, but the why, do you have fun when you come up?
Absolutely.
When you're not riding, do you still enjoy being here?
Absolutely. I didn't ride today, and people were asking me why I wasn't riding, and I was like, it's so much fun watching, filming, taking it in, just sharing that enjoyment with everybody else.
I wouldn't say the moto community is missing that, or even fly fishing or anything else, but I think people in general miss, this is my assumption, not the good old days before cell phones, but there's always a time, and most people that have been on a bike or by a river or just nature or own land, when you're with other people and you're enjoying a good time, the land becomes special. So once it has an atmosphere to it, you don't have to ride the track to have a good time. We'll play frisbee golf in the field, right?
I saw you just put up that fire pit next to the river there, which is
I've got the horseshoes
nice.
ready. We've got some cornhole coming. We just need the barbecuer. It's things like that that add to it, but obviously the track looks like a park, so it's unusual. And I think the oddity of having it in this location, dressed the way it is, just enhances the track. It's not the most technical track. It's not the biggest track. It's not anything in particular, but it has a flow and it's fun and it looks beautiful. And whenever someone leaves, they're just like, dang, I want to go ride again. Giving someone that feeling for life to just want to do more, that would be the why.
So, The amount of times that you actually get out here and you're not working and you're able to ride the track, what part of the track do you enjoy the most?
Man, when I actually get a ride. For any of you watching this who know me, I love to build bikes as well, and it's sad they're more in project mode than I ride them, but my goal this year is to actually ride more. So that being said, when I'm on a bike, or what I look forward to this year alone with how the track is, minus the Supercross whoops, right?
We'll cut those out.
Yeah, I'm like, I will go around them just to save my body in case, but the sand section, like we're right kind of on top of these bowl turns. It's like Southwick just got drop landed here in a smaller scale, and it's pure screen sand.
You can say that again. 0 rocks.
You know, local tracks don't have it. There's no rocks, there's a flow to it, and it's more technical because you've got to be precise, but once you get it, the fun factor's there. Anyone who's ever been in like wet sand going through bowl turns, they're not big jumps. You're not scrubbing, you're not whipping, but it's really fun. So for me, I'm looking forward to the sand. This section right here, the rhythm section over the river is super fun just because the views you get when you're on the bike, you're 50 feet on top of the water. That's awesome.
Someone has ended up in the river too, right?
Yeah, they smelled, so we forced them in. It was non-negotiable. No, rider mishaps, which we're working on, so there's a safety issue, but I would say for me the sand, and there's a couple of sections that you link turns together that they're just fun, and I miss that flow.
So much fun.
So I'm ready to get back there, but I need some lessons on scrubbing and whipping. So if anyone's got really good tips, I'm like, don't send me to the hospital, but it'd be nice to work on my skills.
Sign us up.
Yeah, I'm like, I build tracks and bikes, but I can always use help riding them.
Cool. Well, wrapping this thing up, what do you see as the future of the property? You know, any other plans to make some different changes to the track?
It's agricultural land, which means unfortunately it will never be commercial public, but that was never the intent. It is home.
Yeah.
So guys riding today, my accent's coming back. Hell, geez Louise, must be all the French guys we had over here. Thanks, Supercross.
Oh, oui.
Oui. They're awesome, super fun. I mean, the amount of international people we've had here as well gives home a culture and a flavor, which reminds me of living overseas. Speaking of home, yes, where the Black Rock is, my parents will have their house there, so literally this will become the front yard at that point. Fighting the legal battle for private property rights on the backyard will open it up so we can just work and ride the track again. Hosting event, you know, years down the road, if anything ever came up and we could get a special use permit, it would be cool. It'd be another dream come true. But our whole plan is just to have our yard back and see it to fruition, which means a 2-mile outdoor MotoGP style track, flow trails for the mountain bikes, all the jump trails, the mulch jump, which is getting massive.
Yeah, I didn't mention the mountain bike jump.
Yeah, the mountain bike stuff's just as big, and we've only begun on those, but it's all built in. And then,
again.
You know, like a little
a
pump track, or eventually, honestly, somewhere in the middle, it'd be fun to carve out a little space for like a pit bike track.
Ooh.
Or like little peewees, so if kids are up, they have something fun, enjoyable. But then if you want to get rowdy and not hurt yourself on the big track, put on your pads, turn on the road rage, and just go at it on the pit bike track. So there's little things I think would be great, and obviously the river with the fire pits, making it more like home. If people are in, out of town, they want to come by, there's training, they're fishing, it gives someone a special place really close to Salt Lake. I mean, we're the state of sport, but it's ironic that one family is doing more to help these riders out because that's what they need.
I mean, I've seen from last year, the 3-week stint,
oh my God,
where the Salt Lake City Supercross was here for what, 3.5 weeks? I mean, you guys were running strong, 3 weeks strong, almost every single day.
Yeah.
Which was just insane. And now again, to be able to give these riders a place to ride is just completely awesome.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
So if you guys obviously have social media, which most of you I would imagine do, Luczak 101 is my Instagram handle. Flying Iron Horse Ranch is my dad's. He doesn't post as much. He's still getting with IT, but he'll do every now and again. So if you have questions, whether it's about the property, you want to come take photos, do whatever, feel free to send us a message. We'll get back to you. We're just working most of the time, so if we're slow on social media, even reach out to Greg. And if you're like, hey,
reach out to me.
I talked to Spence and Steve and they didn't get back to me. I'm like, we're not ignoring you. We're just really, really busy. So if you have, Greg's Instagram handle, social media, YouTube, things like that, he'll get you in touch with us. Come up there. It'd be fun. Bring some burgers. We'll throw some horseshoes and
we'll grill away and have a good time. Like Spencer said, home. And honestly, Spencer and his father Steve, two of the nicest dudes you will ever meet, and couldn't be more fortunate to know you and be your friend. So Spencer, thanks for having us up.
Anytime.
It's been an awesome day, and we will see you guys soon. Peace.